Hello everyone, welcome back to the Talent Managers podcast. Thank you so much for all the lovely messages and support from our first episode.
I know, I'm quite surprised. Like, I knew people were going to listen to us.
Yeah.
I don't mean it in that way. I just meant, like, when we announced it, a lot of people said they were going to listen to it. And then when it actually went up, people were actually listening to it.
Yeah, I think because, we're recording this on Friday. We posted the first episode on Monday. So we're not even at a week yet. And I'm kind of a bit, like, blown away by the amount of people that have listened.
Yeah, also thank you to everyone who's been rating the pod.
Oh, yeah.
If you are listening to this right now on Apple Music, Spotify, or however you're listening to this, stop what you're doing and rate our podcast. Go and give it 5 stars. Leave a little review if you fancy, but it really helps us out, and we're so grateful for seeing all of you have already listened and rated us, so thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, so we are going to start recording video to go with these episodes. We're just getting the hang of the audio first. And then I think our first recorded video will probably be when we are with some influencers that we have planned to get in.
Got in a few episodes' time. Some of these exciting guests we've been hyping up.
What have you been up to this week, Emmy? It was your birthday.
I know, I turned the big 24.
You're getting
big
old.
24. Almost at my quarter life crisis.
So on Sunday night, we went out for a lovely little dinner at Gusto in Edinburgh, which was lovely. And then we went to Bolly Bollerson in Edinburgh. I really would recommend there if you are a student. I feel like students, that is a vibe.
Students would love to go in a ball pit.
Like,
I can't imagine like a 50-year-old woman trying to... Oh, to be fair, my mum probably would go in the ball pit, but... You know, like,
yeah,
it's brings you back to your childhood.
But what
almost.
I would say is the amount of people that were searching for their belongings in that ball pit. Make sure that your bag is closed, that your belongings are safe, because people were like searching for phones.
I lost a Crocs gibbet.
Stop, did you?
Yeah, my little rainbow fell off in the ball pit because as I was in there, my Crocs were just on my feet. And then I was like, I need to put them in sport mode because they're falling off. So I took them off to flip them around and put them in sport mode. And then when I got out and got home, I was like, I'm missing one. So it's somewhere there. But apparently they clean out the ball pit like every night.
Oh, I would have thought so. I would have hoped.
Yeah, because so many people lose so much stuff in there.
Yeah.
So you have to wait until it's been 24 hours when you send them a request to try and get your belongings back.
No. So today we're going to be speaking about
dilemmas.
So we've had you guys send in some dilemmas for us to answer. We've got mostly kind of social media dilemmas, to be honest, to do with influencing, and then we do have one more kind of personal problem, but it does seem that you all want to hear about help with social media.
Yeah, well, we are the talent managers, so that's expected. But to be fair, like, we did get way more emails sent through than we initially thought, so we've just tried to pick ones that we sort of thought fit with the theme, and we've obviously ran with social media, so they're all somewhat to do with social media. Some about influencing yourself, some are about like trying to get into talent management, others about money and payment, then also about like friends on social media. So yeah, they got a good mix coming up. And if you're listening to this and want to send in your own dilemma or send in some stuff for us to discuss on the pod, then make sure you're following Talent Managers Podcast on Instagram, because we put up stories and ways for you to send in and email us your info. So yeah, check that out. Okay, I have the emails in front of me, so I'm just going to read them as people have sent them in. The first one is about wanting to be an influencer. So, hi guys, I'm really wanting to be an influencer / get into posting on social media as a job, but I'm quite scared to post my life online. Kind of about safety, but more about comments from other people, etc.
Yeah, so I think if you want to be an influencer, the way that people really do connect with you is by you sharing your life and being relatable. When you think of, well, personally, when I think of influencers that I genuinely feel influenced by, it's people that kind of do share quite a lot about their personal life. But
that's kind of goes into what we always discuss, which is like a content creator versus an influencer.
Yeah.
Like, there's people who create great content, but like influencers you follow because you're influenced by them, their lives, like their personality, you feel like you know them, they're a friend. So it kind of comes with it.
Yeah. So I suppose it is kind of about making the decision whether you want to be an influencer or if you want to be a content creator. But I mean, in terms of safety, I think you just have to be careful. I'd say one thing I think it's important to highlight is, and this is difficult when you're staying somewhere. So see if you've got like a gifted hotel stay, or if you're at like an event or whatever. What I would say is, if you're going to post about your location, wait until you've left.
Yep, I was literally about to say that, because most places like that anyways, they ask you in advance when you're going to post the content. So we always say after we've left the area, because I have seen things of influencers saying that they're staying at a certain hotel while they're traveling and have had people show up to the hotel.
Oh, do you know, did that not happen to Love Island, like Luca and Gemma quite recently? They put up that they were staying in, what was the hotel called? It was one in Manchester, and all these paparazzi, obviously, because they just all turned up. I mean, that's on a large scale, right? See if you're an influencer that has even like 5,000 followers, right? There could still be creepy people out there.
Oh yeah,
you
could have 100 followers and there's still probably one creep on your Instagram. Like, you can never be too cautious when it comes to your safety, especially as a woman.
Yeah.
So like, there's things you can do about safety. Like, for example, if you want to be an influencer in Edinburgh, you're obviously going to use location tags for Edinburgh. But like any stories, I mean, personally, 99% of the stories that I post, if I've posted that I'm at a coffee shop or a cafe or a hotel or out and about, they're posted when I'm at home in bed.
You know what's quite nice about that as well, though, is that it kind of allows you to live in the moment. Do you know what I mean? It stops you from like sitting on your phone and like making your story all aesthetically pleasing whilst you're there. So, I mean, yeah, I think that's something that we should all kind of
get into the habit
of. Yeah.
Like, because, take a photo, put your phone down.
Yeah, and then do it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's also like, there are a few girls I know who like go to the same spots to like shoot their content, or bars and cafes and stuff like that, but they don't actually tag the place.
Yeah, because there's been multiple times where I've sent, even where it's places in Edinburgh, I know it's in Edinburgh, I'm like, guys, where is this?
Yeah, it's so cute.
Yeah. You know, something that I always notice that really freaks me out, when people post the gyms that they go to. That, I'm like, guys, if you're there multiple times a week, and if you're like there every morning at 7 a.m. before your work, and you're geotagging your gym, or even like, I mean, fair enough, people are probably going to realise if they know the gym, they're going to realise anyway. Yeah. But personally, that doesn't sit right with me. I mean, I think if you're going to be posting on social media, these things are going to happen where people are going to obviously realise where you are. And I feel like, you know what, that's just one of these things. But it does freak me out when people like tag their gym, or like, well, like even their work building, if it's like tagged their like actual like office. Oh. And then you're like, people know you're there like every day or like 3 times a week at least. And it just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I am quite conscious of that. I suppose not everyone is that insane.
Yeah. You can never be too
careful. But I mean, yeah, maybe it is a bit extreme. But what was the other part of the question? I feel like I kind of went off there.
Just like other people's comments, judgments about being an influencer. I mean, we kind of touched on it in the first episode. Jealousy and, you know, what other people think of you is none of your business, and how there's always going to be some person that has a negative comment about what you do, and you just got to get on with it.
I know. I think the thing is as well, like, sometimes you just got to think, if people are talking about you, you're doing something that they're noticing, or people are talking about because they actually probably think it's quite cool and they're a bit jealous.
There's no such thing as bad publicity. Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, if someone's talking about you, they're giving you that attention. Whether it's positive or negative, it doesn't matter. People are talking about you.
Yeah, that's true. I think that especially, this is something... When did you move to Scotland, out of interest?
When I was 10, 11. Right.
Okay, well, I suppose that is sort of the age, because I feel like in Scotland, there is such a, like, thing where people can't... Like, people are kind of, I was going to say, like, ridiculed for wanting to do something a bit different.
I think that's everywhere, not even just Scotland. Like, when you get to your 12th birthday, it's almost like you were fucking in the battlegrounds of having to navigate your own individuality. If you do something different that the others around you don't seem cool or find as exciting as you do, then you're pretty much bullied. Like, and you're sort of forced to grow a tough skin.
Yeah, which isn't always a bad thing. It's obviously horrible, but the reason I said that is because I was listening to Lewis Capaldi's podcast with Stephen Bartlett, which you should listen to, by the way. I was actually crying in my car. In fact, that was the day I saw you. It was your birthday. Yeah. So he, like, Lewis Capaldi, he was basically saying, like, the way that him and, like, the way that he grew up, that it was like people actually gave each other pelters, and, like, he was giving examples, and Stephen Bartlett was like, that is insane to me that people would speak to each other in that way.
I guess, yeah, like, to be fair, I think in Australia more of the stuff is spoken about behind your back rather than to your face, but
whereas
here in Scotland, people are straight up like, yeah, like, people will say that to your face.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, yeah, people are always going to talk shit, but I think if it's something that you really want to do, it's not something that you should just accept. That's not what I'm saying, because it's not something that should just, like, come with the job.
Yeah.
You shouldn't just be like, oh, this is expected because this is my job.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just going to happen.
Any type of job where you're putting yourself in the spotlight and having attention on you is going to bring comments. Not everybody thinks the same and feels the same. People have different beliefs and morals, and, like, what you think is completely fine and normal to do, someone else might find is unacceptable. So when you're literally sharing your whole life online, obviously people are going to have disagreements and judgments on what you're showing, whether it's the reality or not. That's just, like, you can't escape from that.
See, like, obviously in terms of, like, jealousy, see, for example, if we're talking about purely, like, females here, I think a lot of the time, if you are a successful, pretty female, again, I'm going to say, like, in Scotland, I don't mean to slag our people, but, like, I do feel like there is a lot of negativity if you're successful and if you're a good-looking person.
It's just jealousy.
It is just jealousy, but it's a difficult thing, because you, like, it's the same way as when you're younger and, like, your parents be like, oh, they're just doing it because they're jealous, or they're doing it because they actually like you and all this stuff. It's actually true, but it is still brutal at the same time. I mean, that's kind of all we can really say on that, is that shit's gonna happen. Like,
also, like, I think whether you post your life online or not, you're probably gonna have people judging you anyways and making comments, so you just don't know about it because you've got a much smaller audience.
Yeah, it's that way where it's like, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yep. Okay, number 2. I think this is a pretty interesting one. Someone just sent in a message saying, I'm finding it really hard to get a job in the industry with no experience, even though I have a relevant degree. I've been offered unpaid internships, but I'm not sure whether to take it or not. Like, relevant degree, if we're talking about, like, talent management, I'm obviously thinking something to do with, like, social media, marketing, business, anything like that. I personally would say that it's near impossible to find a job without experience, and most places that require you to not have experience are only offering unpaid internships. But fun fact, unpaid internships in Scotland are illegal. Illegal. It is against the law. The only time that you can do it is if it's part of your course for, like, placements in exchange for credits, or if you're volunteering for a charity.
There you go.
So if someone in Scotland is advertising an unpaid internship, it is illegal.
Or even if they're not advertising it, but once you kind of
get through the process, they're like, this is an unpaid position. It can be tempting to take it because you're desperate for the experience, but I would recommend going down the route of creating your own experience rather than like going and doing someone else's work. Because if I actually wasn't doing social media, take a step back, how many of my friends from school or friends around me do social media or have friends of friends who do social media? Like, you could definitely use the power of word of mouth and, like, work alongside local businesses. Like, if one of your friends has started up a lockdown project, or one of your friends is trying to get into influencing, you can just work with them to build up your own experience and portfolio. So when you're applying to these jobs, you've got examples of previous work. It doesn't have to be under a fancy agency or not.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Okay, I feel like I have quite a lot to say on this. Firstly, if we're talking about gaining your own experience, I feel like the most valuable thing that I did
Was doing it yourself?
was doing it myself, because what I basically did was in lockdown, I started up my own brand. I'm not telling you all to go and start a full-blown clothing brand business, but during lockdown I started my own brand, and because of the brand, I was reaching out to influencers to send them parcels, you know, to get them to post about it and things like that. So these were people that, it was mainly friends and friends of friends that had a following.
Yeah.
But I kind of got that experience of reaching out, emails, DMs, kind of even like scheduling content with them and things like that. And then when I went to apply for things, so I did do an unpaid internship.
Same.
Which turned into a job. But what I would say on that, I don't regret doing the unpaid internship, which, even though we're advising against it,
yes.
I don't regret doing it. But I think that there is something really upsetting in someone directly benefiting financially off of your work.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I also feel like if you're doing an unpaid internship, you're hoping that at the end you will get a job. Like, you're lucky you got a job at the end of it.
Yeah. It's a tricky one to navigate, you know?
I thought that I didn't have any experience, so I took the internship to try and gain experience. But I had 5 years of social media managing under my belt for myself. Like,
See,
I had done it for myself. I had been negotiating paid deals, collabs, working with brands for 5 years before that. And I hadn't just been doing it for myself. I'd been doing it for my friends and my sister and stuff. So I still thought that wasn't enough. And it took me joining like an official workplace in a professional setting where I thought that I would learn more, where in fact I didn't. Like, I already knew everything and was helping to build additional resources and stuff. So I was like, I actually have all the experience and I should be getting paid for this. And I think
what I would say is that when you are applying to actual jobs, it's not necessarily that they're looking for experience working with another company. If you're able to explain like things that you have done that do actually count as experience that you have done yourself. I mean, I'm not saying you're gonna go straight into like a social media manager role, but if you're you know, applying to be like an assistant or something, like, you'd be surprised at what experience you actually either might already have or that you can gain off your own back. Because the other thing is, these internships are really competitive. They are really competitive, even the unpaid ones. And I think especially because there's not always a lot,
there's barely any. Like, the industry itself is so competitive because there's almost no jobs like going ever. And if there are, you need to have loads of experience. Like, most actual digital manager marketing jobs, you need a few years of experience because they're not entry-level assistant jobs. And the reason that you don't really see too much advertised for that is because there's so few to come by. All the jobs are pretty much filled. So you got to be on the ball when you're like trying to find it. Like, I think I had my LinkedIn and Indeed notifications on. I've had people messaging me asking me for recommendations for jobs just because I'm in the industry. I might know of something going.
Well, this is the thing, right? I'd say for this person who has written in here and is explaining this, the advice that I would give them, they have that degree under their belt. That's great, right? That's great. And that actually gives you like an advantage over some other people who are maybe don't have a degree and don't have any experience.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I would say that experience is way more valuable than a degree in this industry. Because so many little jobs will actually give you the training or teach you how to do it. Like, you kind of just get chucked into it and you either sink or swim. So, like, experience over everything, but you can create the experience yourself.
So this person in this instance does have the degree, so I'm thinking, what can they do?
Well, you can use like projects and uni work and like things you've done, because if you've done a business or a digital marketing degree, you will probably have some portfolio of work you can use.
For sure.
And then while you're looking for a job, try and like do things yourself. Have you done social media for yourself? Have you emailed brands? Have you negotiated? There's so much stuff on TikTok too that helps you, like, if you've done content creation before, even if it's just for yourself, you can put that on your CV.
What I would say to this person, first of all, I feel like I'm going to really give the basics here and things that it's sort of like LinkedIn. Make yourself a LinkedIn profile. Make it appealing, right? If you're going to go and work in, you know, the creative industry, or social media, make sure that it is
Creative.
And the same with your CV, make sure it's creative. Get a hang of Canva especially, and if you have Photoshop knowledge, even better.
Yeah, I used InDesign and Photoshop, but that's because I had a graphic design degree. Canva, only recently discovered this year. Brilliant invention. Honestly.
You've only discovered that this year? Because you were
Yeah.
using...
I was using a Photoshop and InDesign and stuff.
Right.
And Canva,
Well, good
I
stuff.
got annoyed at it at the beginning because I was like, God, this is just like pre-made templates, and it's almost too easy, but it's not. To be fair, like I've been hiring in the past before myself, and I've seen like 5 different applicants use the exact same Canva template.
Right.
But then there's been other people who I'm like, wow, this is amazing, and they're like, I use Canva, and I know it's not a template. Like they've just used elements from it. So yeah, like there's a way about using things and making yourself stand out, and not just like copying and pasting stuff.
I think as well, and I would say, if you want to get into this industry, having your own, social media profile
is so
important.
Helpful. Yeah.
And I don't mean I mean an active social media profile, only because I'm saying this because, see, in terms of contacts, being invited to events and things like that, it does really help, especially like I personally would say, like in Scotland, like especially if I've gone to events and there's been people that have kind of messaged me after saying, would love to keep working alongside you, or would love to work alongside you in the future, like people that I've met. So if you can kind of like, I'm not saying go and become an influencer yourself if you have no interest in it,
but almost use Instagram as your own creative CV, like to brand yourself and like show potential clients and employers like who you are and what you do. So like if I look on your Instagram and you're applying for social media content creator job, and your whole thing is to like take photos, if I go on Instagram and you haven't posted a photo in like 3 years, but also they're like really Snapchat filters, like not great photography, I don't know if I can trust like what you're saying. But if I go onto your Instagram and you take great pictures, and even if it's just photos of like you and your friends, and like you've got a little reel of you on holiday, I'm like, she can edit a video together to make a reel. Like they can take photos at a good angle, it's not blurry, like it's not over edited. If you're not posting regularly or interacting regularly on social media, I'm kind of like, do you know what's going on in the world of social media? Do you keep up to date?
That's
so if you're actively posting, regardless of what it is, that is sort of your own visual CV.
Our portfolio.
And portfolio, a way to get to know you a bit better and get an insight into what you can do.
And I think like especially the area that you're in, if you're active on Instagram and you can see places other people are going, things other people with like similar interests are doing to you, go to those places and do those things. I was listening to a podcast on the way here that was basically talking about, you've got to put yourself in situations, put yourself in places where there's similar people that you want to connect with. I think that because there's so many influencers or local like content creators now, either your friend or someone who's a friend of a friend knows someone who will be kind of in the industry as like an influencer or a content creator. Just try and make those connections.
There are also so many different like marketing and networking experiences and opportunities. Like, I know the Scottish Fashion Association recently launched here, but they're doing a lot of stuff across Edinburgh and Glasgow, from like open castings and events and PR and stuff, and creatives in the industry can buy memberships from there. But also if you're just like following social medias of the brands and places and organizations that you like, they're going to be sharing what they're doing. And they had like free model castings, and they're doing a runway fashion show now. And if like the stuff like that, it's great to jump on if you're trying to get in, because then you're meeting other people in the industry, and it's just by putting yourself in a situation, just like you were saying.
Exactly. So see, for example, if we use them as an example, the Scottish Fashion Association. So say you're like, okay, I'm going to go to this fashion show, even if you have to buy a ticket, even if you go with your other friend that might not be as interested as you, if you just get yourself there, the chances of you sitting beside someone who's going to have the same interests, just, really go for it. Do you know what I mean? Put yourself in those situations like we were saying, and also kind of, if you can connect with people online as well, just in the way that you know, you can say, oh, like, I really like what you're doing here. Like, oh, I really, without being a weirdo.
Yeah,
you
like,
know?
don't be afraid to slide into people's DMs, because the amount of people, like, I'm pretty sure I met one of the girls I managed, Sarah Summer, through Instagram. She followed me, and I was like, her content's cool. I think she had like 1,000 followers at the time. Followed her back, and then just randomly would pop up on each other's Instagram stories and DMs, and that was it. I've got other friends who've literally just messaged me being like, well, I literally slid into your DMs, Eva.
You did?
Yeah, to ask you about your previous job.
Yeah,
that
is a total example.
Just like make conversation, try and reach out to people, and someone's probably going to come back.
I think if this isn't something that you're used to doing, just not even in terms of, you know, a career, if it's in terms of like just friendships, if you're kind of someone that is maybe a bit of an introvert, doesn't really like to be a conversation starter, doesn't like to, you know, reach out to people as such, if you can learn how to just like kind of put it to the back of your mind. I think some people might be scared to kind of do that in case you're like, oh, this person's going to think I'm weird. I mean, you did kind of think like, oh shit, did I do this?
But I mean, I am actually an introvert. I am not an extrovert at all.
Really?
Which is very surprising to people, but I'm just very, I like to keep to myself. I get very nervous. I have anxiety. Like, I don't really like speaking to new people. I assume that everyone hates me.
You know what's so funny, the way Amy is, and I've noticed this, like I've observed this when we're meeting new people, right? This is what she does. So we will go in, meet someone, and then initially I will start speaking to them, right? And then you'll sit for like 2 minutes observing the situation, and then you will just start talking, and that'll be you, and you'll just continue speaking. It's funny though, but I only notice it because I'm your friend.
Yeah.
They won't think, like, nobody else will think anything weird of it, but it is funny because you kind of observe situations before you.
Yeah, because
before you open your
I
mouth.
almost kind of like, if I don't have to take the lead or be the first one to start a conversation, I won't.
But you often do end up taking the lead.
Yes, but this is the thing. This is why, like, I'm more of an introvert, because I'll sit back, get the general vibe, figure out where this is going, and then if I'm like, oh yeah, this person is having a chat, whatever, I've got something to say, I'll jump in, and then once I start talking, you can't get me to shut up.
Yeah,
like, I could go on and on and on, and especially if someone's giving it to me back, I just love to talk.
Right.
But for me to initially open up and talk to you, that's where my introverted side is. I'm a bit like, I don't know if I should just stand here. I don't know if I should speak. Like, if it's someone that you already know, I'm a bit like, that's their friend, they're just speaking. If it's someone that you don't know, I'm like, oh my god, like, maybe they're feeling the same way that I am. Maybe I need to just, like, 101 thoughts go through my head while I'm standing there. So you know that my brain's currently like in alarm, panic mode while I'm just standing there for 2 minutes trying to figure out how to navigate.
And I don't know if this is a bit weird, but it's something that I think is like an anxiety thing I've just trained myself to do. If I know I'm going to be seeing someone, meeting someone I haven't before, or someone I haven't seen in a while, what I do, and it's totally subconscious, before I go and meet them, I think of like multiple different starting talking points in my head. Like I do that a lot, and I will research the person.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, you want to find like common ground and something that you can talk to them about, but I always try to say something positive to people when I meet them. Like, I always try to give them a compliment, not being like, I go up to every girl, I'm like, oh my god, I love your skirt, like Regina George, Mean Girls. If I'm like, wow, I love that person's outfit, that's probably gonna be the first thing I say to them. Because it sort of makes them feel good,
more comfortable.
It makes them feel a bit more comfortable, and then the conversation will naturally flow from there, because then you start discussing certain interests. Or if someone has like a lot of tattoos, I also have tattoos and love tattoos, so I'll bring that up and we'll start talking about that, and that sort of helps me to navigate it in more of a natural way.
Something that I do is similar to that, but usually before I meet someone, especially if it's in like a more of a in a career setting rather than social, if I probably will be looking at their Instagram or their business's website beforehand. Or if it's like an influencer I'm meeting, obviously I've looked at their account beforehand or whatever, and I'll think, oh, I really like that reel that they did. And then when I see them, I'm like, oh my god, like that reel that you did was really nice, or really cool, or wow, that did really well. Like, that brand must love you now. Do you know what I mean? Like those kind of things. It's like some people almost are maybe anxious and think that you, especially if it's a group of people, they might be like, oh, they're not that interested in talking to me. But it's nice to compliment. You know, there's nothing worse than meeting someone or planning a meeting with someone. Fair enough, I get some people are busy, right, and won't have that same thought to do that as us, but see when you meet someone and you just know that they have absolutely no idea what you do or what, do you know what I mean? And it's actually uncomfortable because it's like, why are you here meeting me if you have no idea what I'm doing? But this is, I feel like I experienced that more when I was applying for jobs, maybe, when like, because that way I'm like, I've written this in my CV, like they're obviously gonna ask you like questions about yourself, that's what I mean, but it's like,
if they've not even taken the time to like look at your CV or know your name, then like what's the point of you even being there? They just
bad vibes from the start.
Red flag. So yeah, we could obviously talk about this for hours and hours. This is just as we've said, so many things lead into other things and they all cross over, and well, that's, we could do a whole bloody another podcast episode on this. But we'll move on to the third question, because I feel like that we've said quite a bit about that. I don't know if any of this is even good advice. You guys are just listening to us ramble. All right, question 3. This is a good one.
Okay.
I really want to work with my dream brand. I'm just going to say dream brand instead of the brand
because they have named the brand.
Yeah, they've named the brand, but I'm just going to say dream brand. So I really want to work with my dream brand, but they have said they have no budget and I don't work for free. So I really want to build a long-term relationship, but I don't want to do unpaid work. Fair enough. Especially if they will continue to expect it. What should I do? I think this is like everyone in the industry, if you're from a manager side or a talent side, you all expect this. Like this is so normal and comes up because, you know, it's one of the brands that you would love to work with, so you're more likely to do free work just to work with them. But I like the part where it says I want to build a long-term relationship and I don't want to do unpaid work if they will continue to expect it. Because I think there's nothing wrong with doing work for free or gifted work if you're getting something of value back. Whereas if a brand is just demanding you to do X, Y, and Z for free stuff, that's a red flag. And especially if they don't progress into any paid work but still want you to continue to do that. Some brands will be like, I want a TikTok and it needs to be in this format, and I want 3 stories with a swipe up, and I want like a grid post with this have to be in the caption and mention this. That's like, you're paying, you need to pay for that. Like, that's specifics. That
is a full-blown advert. That's not natural.
That is not
like gifting.
But if someone sends me products or clothing or something and I wear it and I love it and then I post about it and tag, and then they're like, oh, we saw that, we love that, can we repost that? Can go into this in the whole rates episode, but if you can say for a fee, or if you're happy for them to repost to get that exposure hate that word, then they set up another collab, and then they're like, hey, we actually have this campaign and we thought of you, it's paid. That's the ideal like scenario if you're starting out with gifting. But how would you approach it?
Well, I've been in situations like this before, especially if someone that I'm managing is growing quite quickly, and you're kind of thinking, like, I don't really feel like they should be doing work for free with this brand. But then you know that this brand does have a budget. What I would say is, and this has been successful for me in previous situations, and it's kind of what you've just said, but what I would say is I would maybe work with them on a gifted basis. I just mean, like, say it's a brand that's going to gift you each month like a certain amount of clothes.
Do it for 1 or 2 months.
Do it for a couple of months.
Try it out.
And then go, we're not taking any gifted work just now. If you want to work with Holly, I'm just going to use Holly as an example. If you want to work with Holly, you would need to like pay this, right?
You said if a brand says they can't pay, even if you know they have budget,
right?
How would you know if they have budget? Because like obviously we know sort of what brands pay and don't pay and how campaigns run, but if someone's listening to this right now, how would you even figure out or know if a brand has budget?
Okay, so there's 2 things I would kind of say to this. So obviously, one, having a manager does really help because they often know if a brand has budget. There's some brands that will always have a budget. So I think that is a positive, having a manager. If you don't have a manager and you don't have anyone you can ask, oh God, that is a hard one, because I've never really been in that situation.
Because like I think the most obvious way to figure out if a brand has budget or not is by the size of the brand, but that's actually not
necessarily the case.
So like obviously a brand like McDonald's can probably afford to pay you over a small local business. But there are brands who, for example, Naked. They only work on a gifted basis.
Unless you're doing a full-blown edit with them, I assume.
every single person from 1,000 followers to 150,000 followers only does gifted work with them, and they work through places like Brand Ambassador and like affiliate links. So like the money you would make from those collabs are just from affiliate links, and they wouldn't work with you again unless you could bring in guaranteed like 20 sales. It's insane. If a brand says like we don't do any paid collabs at all, you can literally ask them. I've had brands come back being like, sorry, we don't actually do any paid collabs.
Right.
And then you're like, okay, then you can judge whether or not you want to continue working with them or not, because they've told you they will never do any paid collabs. Others will go, we don't have budget right now.
Yeah.
That's how I figure out who has money or who doesn't.
That makes sense, yeah.
Because just ask.
Right.
They will literally tell you.
Will you have budget next month? Could we book something in for November then?
It then opens up the conversation. But also, if you're unsure if a brand pays, look at who they've done other collabs with.
Yeah, that's what
because
I thought.
with the ASA, you have to disclose your ads. So you have to say if it's a paid ad. Right. So if you go on Instagram and you see paid partnership and see paid, you know that they've done paid work. Yeah. Now, sometimes people use that for gifting, which is confusing and not very helpful, but Instagram makes you do that sometimes. But you can see if you've seen 5 different paid ads that this brand has done, you know that they have budget. So then ask them, do you have budget? Like, I'm working on paid partnerships right now. And if they go, yeah, we can pay you X amount, or no, we don't have any paid collaborations at the moment, still email back. Use that as a way to get your foot in the door and let them know that you'd like to move forward on a paid basis.
Yeah, and kind of like I said before, if they say we don't have any budget right now, do you have budget to book something in for next month?
Yep.
Could we look at discussing next quarter? Or nobody's going to really work in quarters in that sense, but
I know so many people are nervous to send emails like that back because they're afraid of rejection. But like, what's the worst they're going to say? No.
I know, true.
Like, it's actually not as scary as you think it is. And if you ask a brand, they're not going to stop emailing you altogether.
Yeah, no, that's true.
They're not going to ghost you.
No. I think as well, you know how you kind of said in the beginning, if you're getting something out of working with a brand, if it's gifted. So there's brands that we've worked, me and you have worked at gifted, that we will get to go to events with them. Yeah. For example.
PLTs, VR Festival.
So that's straight up an example,
And then like hotels. We've had hotel collabs, we've had dinner collabs, various types of collabs. But like, for example, a meal, if I'm all dressed up to go out for a meal and they just are saying, hey, we'd love to invite you in for a meal if you just can do a story or a post, and if you do, then tag us. Absolutely no worries. But if they come and then go, hey, we want to do a meal, but we would like one reel focused on this specific menu with 3 story sets, and then like we want 4 different images that we can use for our own content. No, you need to pay me for that, because that's then becoming a full-on service. Whereas if it's just like an exchange, you can stay in our hotel. If you can share about the experience on your social media, but they give you the creative freedom to do it how you like.
It's all about the creative freedom.
Yeah, so and as someone who posts their life online anyways, you're going to do that wherever you stay. So I always say gifting with no obligation to post. That's what I accept, and like my girls will accept. Because if they want to try out products, 9 times out of 10 and they love it, they're going to post it on the stories and share it a bit anyways. But if you come with like a specific set, it needs to be posted by this date and we need approval and this and that. No, that's not worth it.
Do you want me to give an unpopular opinion?
Oh yeah, we love an unpopular opinion,
right? I don't particularly like when influencers reach out to small, like, local businesses, like a restaurant, to work with them, right? Because I mean, I can see why someone would do that if they have been doing other gifted work or paid work with other people, but sometimes it doesn't sit right with me.
It depends on how you go about it, because as someone who's ran a small business, I have had people reach out, and for the clients that I do social media for, I have had influencers reach out for work, and half of the time it saves me extra work and effort.
See, that is
if they send a thoughtful message. Hey, I love your brand, I've bought from you before, like I'm always in your store. Like if you want to do anything, I'd love to work together in some way. If it's genuine, that's fine. But if you are copying and pasting, hi, I'm this
Pre-written
creator, I create X, Y, and Z content, here's my links, would love to collab.
Yeah.
That's fine for like a general brand. But
Yeah.
why that small business, like you've not put in any thought or effort or nothing.
Because the thing that doesn't sit right with me if it's a small local business is if you can afford to go in there and pay anyway.
Yeah. You should be doing that.
Then you should be doing that, and you should be posting it because you want to help a local business. I'm not meaning if they've reached out to you, if they've decided they're going to do like a social strategy and they're going to then, but I don't know, do you know what I mean?
No, I do know. So I think it depends. Context is important.
Context, and also, you know what, the other thing is, if you have ever done this and you're feeling guilty about it, don't feel guilty. Everyone is guilty of doing that to an extent.
Oh yeah.
On the contrast, some people are scared to even email big brands and be like, I want to work with you. And I'm like, guys.
Some people don't have enough confidence in themselves to reach out to brands. Other people have too much confidence.
Yeah. The other thing I would say, and I feel like I'm giving so many contrasting statements here, if you don't ask, you'll never know.
My number one motto that I tell everyone I meet is if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
So,
and there's been situations
what's the worst they can do? They can say no. You're not going to be blacklisted. They're never going to talk to you again. They're never going to work again. It might not even be a no. It might be just a not now.
Yeah.
Don't ask, you don't get.
And also follow up.
It's
fine to send another email. If a brand says no to you now, but then say in 6 weeks' time, you gained quite a few.
I wait 2 weeks. Sometimes I've emailed twice in a day.
Do you know what I mean, though? Like, it's like if it's that way where it's like you've...
Just because I've said no once doesn't mean they're going to say it again.
And also if one person from the brand has said no doesn't mean another person from the brand are going to say no.
Oh my god, the amount of times I've emailed like 2 contacts I have for the same brand, and one person has come back being like, so we don't have any collabs right now, and the other person's come back, hey, yeah, we have this paid collab. Like I can put them forward to, and I'm like, great.
I know, again, I feel like this is, I'm not saying everyone should have a manager, but the positive of having a manager is like you have someone to guide you around these situations. Yeah. And also someone to tell you when you're taking the fucking piss. Yeah.
But that's what we're here for with this podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
We are your fairy god talent managers.
Yeah, fairy godmothers.
Yeah. Should we roll on to the final one? Because, again, we could keep talking for hours. My friend is copying my Instagram photos and I don't know what to do. I've been friends with this girl since I was 14 and we were really close. The last year I noticed she started to copy my style, ? She always just used to jump on trends, whereas I had more of my own recognizable and individual style. Last year, I dyed my hair, and a week later, she had the exact same hair done. Then she started full-on recreating outfits I had worn and posted. Now she is copying my social media posts, and not just in a way where it was inspired by, but copying everything from the outfit, location, hairstyle, accessories, even down to the pose.
No.
How do I tell her I find it weird without upsetting her and ruining our friendship? This is an interesting one.
Right. Well, first of all, there's an element of it that's a compliment.
Yeah, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery.
Right, I think that's right then.
I think that's it.
That is right. Ultimately, it's nice that she thinks that what you're doing is great.
Yeah, like obviously she's looking at that and being like, wow, I want to
do that.
To be like that. I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they really like what you're doing and the look you have and what you're posting, and they are just trying to recreate that themselves. On the other hand, it's so annoying. I think almost every girl has had this happen to her at one point or another, with people literally copying. Like I've taken photos and stuff where I've gone, that's so cool, that's a great shot, and then like someone else 2 seconds later, oh my god, that's great, I'm gonna do that, and then I have to take their photo that's the exact same.
That's
absolutely fine. Like I personally don't care, but if it's to a point where, as I was talking to Eva about earlier, the whole Nessa Barrett, Kendall Monroe situation, if you don't know what that is, look it up on TikTok.
I didn't know about
that. That
this
is scary.
until today.
For anyone who has no idea what this is and isn't going to look it up, it's basically a very big TikToker has had this girl for over a year copy her posts exactly, recreate from like the same outfits to the same hair to the same, like literally posting exact same, and people have posted on TikTok like side by side comparisons, recreating the exact same videos, wearing the same green dress, lip singing the same songs. Like it is scary. It's almost like stalker vibes. No hate. But like that makes you feel uncomfortable because it's like you're not even just like inspired by someone, because I have so many photos in my phone inspired by. I go, that's a great way to style an outfit. I want to recreate that, or I love that photo. I want to take a photo outside like that. But I'm not going to go and copy it down to the pose and the hairstyle and the everything.
You know, that one thing I wanted to kind of touch on here is this person actually did say that they have a very different style to the normal trends.
Yeah.
Because this is what came into my head when I first read that. For example, my friend Sophie has ultra mini Ugg boots, and then I got ultra mini Ugg boots. But it's not like that. It's not a trend.
Yeah, like
it's like
they specifically said her friend always jumped on trends, which would be something like Ugg boots, like Crocs. I just bought a pair of Crocs, and I got Cami a pair of Crocs. My sister's had Crocs for years. It doesn't mean I'm copying her.
Yeah, exactly.
Crocs are cool now, guys. But she said that she has her very own distinguished style.
Right, yeah. God, how
I mean, if they've been your friend, I don't know how old you are right now, because it just says since 14.
Well, I'm thinking, how old are they?
Yeah, it does seem quite young. I don't know how old this person is.
Yeah.
But regardless, I'm thinking about when I was around that age and in school, situations like that happening. And if you don't say anything, it's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
It's going to be uncomfortable. Like, there's no way to address it without it being uncomfortable for both parties.
I know, and she probably will take it.
Yeah, don't text, don't message. I would do it in person, because so much gets... Like, people have been taking screenshots and being like...
Oh, God,
yeah. Like...
Well, this is the thing. This is what I was going to say, because especially with people that I've known, or I'm very comfortable with, people that I've known for a long time. For example, with my school friends, right?
Yeah.
I think people would be uncomfortable with the way that we speak to each other. I would be like... what the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
And like do you know what I mean?
Call her out on it because you're comfortable and secure with your relationship.
But also like kind of make a joke out of it is probably what I would do.
Yeah. But also they said that their friend usually just jumps on trends and stuff.
But doesn't anymore.
Yeah, but that trend could be just copying you. They might move on to someone else as quickly as they do with trends.
So it could change. I wonder how long it's been going on for.
Yeah, so you could hold out and not say anything. But I would talk to them in person.
Yeah.
I would not do it over text. I mean, at the end of the day, if they're going to stop being your friend because of that, at least they'll stop dressing like you.
Or maybe
obviously weren't a great friend to begin with, but...
Yeah, or maybe they'll become an enemy and they'll start copying every single thing you do, like that Nessa girl and the other... Kendall.
Kendall's the one that copies.
Guys, seriously look that up.
Please look it up on TikTok.
We are going to go and have some dinner now.
Yeah, I need a big fat pizza and a Diet Coke.
I don't know what I want. We'll see. I'll probably will get a pizza, but we will...
Yeah, we'll speak to you in the next episode.
Which is, we're going to record right now, but...
Yeah, that's all going to be about how to get started as an influencer.
Which is exciting. A
lot
to speak about there.
This is what you've all been waiting for.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. As Emmy said in the beginning, make sure that you rate.
Yes, give us 5 stars and leave a review.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think.
For sure.
But only if it's nice.
I know. And please share with your friends on Instagram. So put a little story up.
Yeah, and make sure you tag us.
Yeah,
so
and
we share it.
Let us know what you're doing whilst you're listening to the podcast. When do you mainly listen to podcasts, Amy?
When I'm cooking or in the shower.
Okay, in the shower. How long does your showers last?
No, but like I'll start it while I'm getting ready to have a shower. Then I'll have a shower. Then I'll get out, do my skincare and all that. Then I'll go and make food. Like when I'm just going about doing my daily routine, that doesn't involve work.
Okay, for me, I listen in the car.
Yep.
Because it takes me quite a while to drive places, and I listen before I go to sleep. But I have specific podcasters that I listen in the car. So Sophia and Chintzia, I'll listen in the car. Olivia and Neil, I'll listen in the car. Emma Chamberlain, whilst I'm going to sleep.
Interesting.
Okay.
Let's end this.
Yes.
We'll see you guys in the next episode.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.